It's 1-1 here. Endemic versus No Tomorrow. We just saw No Tomorrow come out with an aggressive comp, got aggressive early, and they never stopped being aggressive. They had 9 kills to 0 to even the series up 1-1.
Had the most Brightwing bomb composition I think we've ever seen and didn't get the Brightwing bomb and made it look good. I'm still in awe of what we just experienced. How much control was there for No Tomorrow? How much chaos existed within that game? But when you look at it afterwards, you look at the numbers, you look at some of the stats of 9-0 in terms of kills, and you go, that was pretty much dominance, even though it was chaotic.
It was very chaotic. The amount of Brightwing bombs versus the amount of cheer bombs, one may never know.
Ooh.
But you can still get those in despite no Brightwing bomb allowed. It's game number 3. We're going to Shire, picked up here by No Tomorrow. Both these teams, Dreadnought, have picked this battleground 3 times apiece. 1-5 record for Endemic, 2-5 record for No Tomorrow. But I always want to bring back this battleground for No Tomorrow. Before some of their role changes, before all of that, they would run the Dahaka Falstad on this battleground and made very good use of the double global. We haven't seen it recently, but it's always a threat for No Tomorrow. They know how to play around the globals.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit at a loss for words at this point. Like normally I'd be like, here's the holes that I see within that, but after the global performance we just got in that last game, I'm like, maybe we just need to see No Tomorrow kinda, I wanna say almost old school like Denial Esports. When they were in their prime, it seems like when they would run like Leo Zeratul comps where they'd be all over the place, catching you off. You're like, yeah, you got a kill here, but Zeratul got the kill. Now the Void comes in. It was just chaos all over the place, and their opponents could never deal with it. I kind of want to see that here for No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow has been flexing into that Thrall for Tomster. He moved over to the range, but he flexes into the Thrall, and this is a very good Thrall map. Plays around the middle. It does seem like they have really stood out differently when they do play the more traditional double range. The Genji made it through last game, and Tomster exploded on that towards that last part.
Yeah.
When he made it through, and Endemic says, no way Genji's getting through this draft. It was also a counter towards Sergeant Hammer in the later part of that, so we'll see if Sergeant Hammer, now that Genji's being taken away, will indeed be banned out.
And I will say, when it comes to Sergeant Hammer on Cursed Hollow so far, we're yet to really see a game where that siege advantage does become too problematic. On smaller battlegrounds, it seems to be continuously coming to light, but not so much on the larger ones, which is funny because the original iteration of Hammer, you were worried about her on the big ones, never those small battlegrounds.
Sergeant Hammer was, during the HGC qualifiers almost 2 years ago, it was how the Octalis' roster at that time, they ran it on Cursed Hollow and would just siege up everywhere. Before Sergeant Hammer was meta,
Yep.
They were playing Sergeant Hammer. Maiev banned out. The Maiev Genji of last game will be nowhere to be seen by No Tomorrow. No Tomorrow, see what they consider for their second ban.
No Toronto so far in this series, so I wouldn't expect it to seem to come to light here on a map like Shire. Urel, first pick for Endemic, not going to give Jin the opportunity to pick that up, but Dahaka is available for that off lane.
Kure said he was tired of playing Arthas. I'm done with this. Give me a hero that maybe survives a little better.
Maybe. And also, that is that is still curious to me that we got an Arthas without the Maiev in the last game too. You know, to quote a friend here, Tyrael Arthas on the same team, what year is it? Because it feels very Alpha-esque almost. No.
It wasn't me yet? I just said that last game.
I was literally out with Poseidon 2 seconds ago. I just didn't want to, I feel like I talk about him enough. I didn't, figured I would not throw it out there all the time. I'm sorry, J-Hal. At least you know where my true friends
I got to
are.
hit my talk back button. I need some tissue to the desk, please.
Toronto ends up getting picked up, though. Endemic will have that for themselves. No setup when looking. Man, J-How, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little confused. On Battlefield of Eternity, no Toronto interest whatsoever. Shire, we get it after the Johanna pickup on the other side, which we already talked about some of the trade-offs there. This seems a little backwards here.
If it's not for the Johanna, Toronto seems to make more sense. There's a lot of fleshing out to do till we really figure out how strong she can be in any given meta. But from what we saw earlier, the Johanna was definitely a very good counter.
And it's not even so much the, hey, is Johanna that big of a counter, right? But if we look at it in terms of the battleground itself, and we go, what value is that going to provide? We know that Toronto, much like Genji, limits the approach on specific aspects. She's better than the Genji, especially post-rework, but it is still kind of linear on how you have to approach that. So if you had a more forgiving approach for that in Battlefield of Eternity, you'd expect it to come to light, especially if the counters or anything being considered. But now that we get it on a less synergistic battleground with a soft counter on the other side, it's a bold statement. And if anything, it reiterates the value that I think ENDEMIC has here towards that.
You wanted chaos.
It's chaos.
So here's something, right? So the Diablo gets banned a lot. But B-Kid has played Diablo one time in all of Phase 2. He's played Johanna 15 times. He's played Muradin 15 times.
What's his next highest played?
ETC with 3. But you know what? Forget that. We've got ourselves a Zul. Will Zul be our tank?
Li Ming.
Oh my goodness, Zul will be our tank.
J-How.
Octalysis has infected the HGC. Put out your warnings.
Wait a minute. I agree with you that maybe some Octalysis influence here, but we have to...
What? Maybe?
All right, we're going to give it a moment here. First of all,
okay,
no Medivh. No Medivh. That is a huge difference. Second of all, the Toronto Li Ming Zul has been a trio since the release of Zul. A Bone Prison Lunar Flare one-shot setup is amazing with the Zul. Yes, not having a primary warrior, but I would actually argue this is more ENDEMIC coming in and saying, hey, Toronto's in the meta. You know what also is extremely good on that and also makes up for her biggest hole in her kit, her wave clear. Sets it up for the gap closer. We've been talking about how difficult that can be with some of the warriors, and Muradin isn't that prio. It makes a lot more sense why we see this into the Johanna that I was so concerned about at first.
But this is a decent draft for No Tomorrow. Malthael, post 13, self-cleanse.
Yeah.
Brightwing, one of the few heroes still with cleanse. Zeratul, you can kind of blink away, but you could still get rooted. Johanna, Iron Skin. And Raynor, he's sitting back there at max range saying, get away from me. So there are some counterplays, but you get that. I still remember last year during Open Division, there was a team, I'm trying to remember their name, Heroes Hearth. They ran a Zul Chromie combo on Tomb of the Spider Queen and were just like, here's a root, here's a Chromie bomb, and would explode people. It's not that far out of the realm of crazy, but it is definitely new school that we're getting. New school, old school.
All right, now that we're getting the theory crafting, things getting a little bit wild here, J-How. Do you Poison Nova or Skeletal Mages? Because I think I have an opinion of what I would like to see, but I'm not. I think it's kind of a to each their own type situation, especially with how uncommon Zul is.
Once you get through that array of cleanses, Skeletal Mages seems really strong there.
Yeah.
And a Junkrat following in with a Riptire, Starfall potentially in the middle of that. That's some max synergies.
What I typically like when I think about Skeletal Mages is, number one, I look for those self-cleanses like you were talking about. Skeletal Mages can usually force on a retreat as somebody to use a major gap closer or a kind of cooldown to keep themselves alive, and then you can use that Bone Prison later on. But then it's also how many heroes trade well into the Skeletal Mages. Those things actually hit pretty hard and have very healthy health pools, and they wear skill shots. So sometimes you have to pay attention to them. Raynor, for instance, that has to be a passive use of his E there to survive, for instance, if the Skeletal Mages focus on him. So I think I would like to see that here from them, but we know Zul, if he is the quote-unquote primary warrior, he's going to be in the thick of things. And Poison Nova, I mean, it hurts.
Well, there's an interesting dynamic. You mentioned the lack of Medivh. So instead of going into the level 1 for the bone armor, doing the percent-based damage when it explodes, we're seeing Shade, which blocks all auto attacks, all basic attacks, I should say.
Into a Zeratul Raynor, though, makes a lot of sense.
But then I think Wolf Zeratul late game with that cleave, and then Malthael, you know, as long as he gets some type of dot on you prior to, can rip out some of that health. It's going to be an interesting dynamic. I think in this situation, you have to go into that in terms of a defensive tool. And ENDEMIC, they're coming in for an early invade.
Yeah, and actually, No Tomorrow just had a very clutch decision being made here. Here goes the Lunar Flare. Follow-up onto the Bone Prison combo.
Oh, no.
Not going to be there for the one-shot. Nades over the wall, not going to have enough there. Dansky a little bit too late on the use of that concussion mine, allowing the repositioning of the Malthael upward to enable him to get over that wall.
This is what I like to run with friends.
Oh,
nice poly. Cure. Highly unlikely.
Oh, he got it.
So Jay Shrite said, but I've got Vorpal. There was a moment I'm like, wait, they've got, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, there we go.
And pressure on bottom here for No Tomorrow, or against No Tomorrow here on the bottom half. Giants able to pick up a first turret. That's a pretty big win for ENDEMIC. J-Hal, if you look at this and you go, you know, gank on the top half of the battleground and kill up there, is that worth the pressure gain on the bottom half? I think it's still yet to be determined, but if I'm a shot caller, I'm more thankful of my damage on bottom than I am that one kill on top, as long as no Dragon Shire loss or not a huge Mega Wave on top, which Urel made it back on time.
If teams are willing to run Zul without the Medivh, then I'm waiting for somebody to say, well, there's another point-and-click hero, goes by the name of Butcher, has a higher health pool than Zul, can self-heal. Who needs to block stuff? You have a block at level 1, tankier than Zul. Just saying.
That's a way cooler heroic, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, Furnace Blast is amazing.
I hate you so much right now. Night's going to be started here from No Tomorrow, as they are going to go down like lambs to the slaughter. What? Nothing. Night Camp maybe going to be picked up.
Just so you know, I think I'm like a level 50 Butcher. I've probably run Lamb less than 5 times ever. Just
now,
so you know.
Now I know why you're obsessed with that hero. Because you just
you kill people.
You live in your own world. You live in your own world.
Yes, and I kill people in my own world.
Right now, ENDEMIC here, kind of living in their own for a moment. Zeratul Brightwing pressure towards top as the Malthael choking off that rotation towards top. A lot of top lane emphasis for No Tomorrow.
They're giving this up, Dread.
Yeah, they're willing to go fort to fort. And J-How, actually, this is one of those situations, because No Tomorrow's been willing to commit so many resources, I don't totally mind this. It is not as profitable, but they need to make sure they get kills on the fact that that top lane is going to be a huge hole. And Zeratul Zeratul Brightwing comps can make that happen.
You sneak, so the solo lane stays up there, Zeratul sneaks in backdoor, you polymorph in, or excuse me, phase shift in, and then you get that takedown onto the Urel. So I'm picking up what you're putting down.
It is not as forgiving, though. It still puts a burden of responsibility in this game on No Tomorrow, and that is towards the top half and making sure Akaface and the Zeratul get that off-lane pressure. But I think if done right, it very much could be a very big setup there as the zone, or as we see the Zul combo come through. Lunar Flare, Concussion Mine. Man, J-How, I'm not gonna lie. This is the first day of having Tronda back, but I'm having flashbacks to old meta now.
I'm having just nothing but happy thoughts, Dreadnought. Seeing this Zul come out in a I don't know how many times you heard me say, look, before Tronda got reworked, her E-Talent level 1 was really fun. And we know that Tronda in the old school was lockdown, follow-up, easy peasy. But seeing it here, I mean, this is my type of heroes right now. Just need that Butcher, but I'm okay with Zul here.
It's looking good so far here for ENDEMIC. One trade-off with this comp is team fighting should, normally I'd say it should fall back pretty colossally, but I can't help but feel like part of the reason that they're able to get away with this composition is not only the healing output there of Tronda, but also Cure on the Urel. The AoE armor is helping with that. Akaface is going to be the combo. Lunar Flare ends up landing there, setting up another stack for Tronda.
Yeah, I've only got 2 stacks, but landed them when they matter, or not even needed. There's the gank you talked about, Dreadnought, and the reduced healing picked up there, the touch of death.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Instantly into this. They're threatening 10 here, so there's no way that ENDEMIC can contest.
This should be a Dragon Knight, actually. The Night Camp should be picked up with top lane pressure, and then No Tomorrow get a swift 10 rotation towards bottom. Should secure a Dragon Knight. Zul versus Raynor. Bone Prison thrown down. Junkrat's there. Dansky, Concussion Mine, is he in range? He is. Falling Sword coming down from behind. Concussion Mine not placed in the right position. Blind in response, the Void Prison. No Tomorrow is turning this thing around.
There's the last rites. That will confirm the kill on to B-Kid. Falling Sword and Zul on opposite sides. Look, credit to these teams for trying out what they're doing, but I've seen this all from Octalis. I'm going to give them where credit's due, but these teams, they practice, they try, they figure these things out. That will refocus. The minute that middle minion went down, it refocused.
Jin able to get the Dragonite. It was a long battle there versus the glorious ranged minion, but in the end, Jin comes out on top and he gets the Dragonite. I'm sorry, it's always funny when that little thing happens because the refocusing, as you talked about when the minion died. Small setback there, but not too big for No Tomorrow.
3 seconds before the Falling Sword is down. See if we get the collapse, but there's the Skeletal Mages. Nice rip tire to follow up. Cure coming in, seeing if he can get a knockback. Does get the knockback onto Thompson. He has the self-heal. The Pixie Shield used by Akaface, allowing him to get away. The Bone Prison not able to lock down Akaface in time. The Blink Heal and the spray. Let him know what you're about. Akaface with the plays.
Great job there by Akaface to be able to survive that. And Jayhow, we got to bring it back to the Dragon Knight because that has been alive the entirety here of that time. Being able to get the siege damage out through mid. No Tomorrow. Bringing the chaos, and it looks good. ENDEMIC struggling to find a way to bring it back.
Was that Akaface with really high APM hitting the R and the T, or was that like, oh God, I'm about to die, and fat fingering the R and the T at the same time?
It may be a little bit of both, but I will say, actually, I think the most impressive thing that Akaface did was before all of that. And you know,
Pixie?
No, it was actually he hid really well.
Yeah.
And so, and hopefully, if we get an opportunity to go and look at that again, I'll talk about it a little bit more. It's hard without the context, but he did a very good job of abusing fog, and it was the only reason he survived that. The clutch plays after it looked good, but for me, his opener was the standout moment there. No Tomorrow picking up the camp. ENDEMIC find it in time, but not willing to commit there, not knowing where the Zeratul was.
Yeah, Brightwing, despite showing up the top, has that phase shift to always come in if needed. Self-cleanse now available for Malthael as we move forward. Fort not yet down. Shrite comes in with some poke, but here it comes. There's the VP, but the concussion mine will buy space and time. The rip tire comes down, as does the skeletal mages.
A lot of lockdown there. Inevitable end used on Jin. Lunar Flare going to connect. Mark goes down. Jin seems to be the focus, but no reset yet. Cure leaps forward. We see the last rites. He will barely be able to survive there as Jay Shrite coming in with that Vorpal cleave. Almost set it below the lethal threshold.
But the recognition of that is clutch. That is where you see signs from No Tomorrow Dreadnought where you're like, oh man, if they get this together to recognize, look, I need some more damage on this to try and confirm that. And it's a very small window of recognition, whether it's communication or self-recognition. Those are the plays that you want to see from No Tomorrow.
Now with 21 seconds out, ENDEMIC will not be able to pick up that 13 talents here immediately at the first Dragon Knight phase. We'll see if No Tomorrow has a way to apply enough pressure to make that be a problem. As they just picked up the top Knight camp, Zeratul will secure top shrine for them, and they have a huge rotational advantage considering the bottom half of the battleground here.
The Rainer's Raider poking its head over that wall for vision. Saw the Yrel. Now we'll see the rest of ENDEMIC moving forward. So they have a siege camp and a minion wave here. They're trying to make a backdoor flank or backdoor cap on this. With Zeratul top lane, this is an interesting approach for No Tomorrow. I'm really surprised at this positioning of Casanova, but they're going for the play here without the Zeratul.
It's more of a threat, at least for now. Iron Skin used to stop the Bone Prison lockdown. Iron Skin shield now taken off the table. Same
They're getting the DK.
Yeah, top is going to be a lot of damage on that keep. Zeratul backdooring the middle shrine after Brightwing picking up bottom. Teleport back here. No Tomorrow, take the map objective, take the 16 talents here. And JL, I think they get 2 keeps on this play too.
That top lane was prepped so incredibly well that will naturally take it down. So ENDEMIC suffering here in the mid game. And the DK now pressuring mid.
And JL, I want to bring it back to the early Fort trade that No Tomorrow took and volunteered into bottom versus top. And we normally in North America, even though I talk about top lane all the time, it rarely trades up to be a winning trade. But No Tomorrow has very well kept that pressure with the gank on Cure, with the top lane preparation with the Zeratul, and the Knights on the top lane had set it up to that lose-lose scenario that we do see at other parts of the world now. And now look to get another keep. This is going to be middle keep falling here. And Void
DK is still healthy enough.
Yeah, and the Void Prison afterwards is going to be the biggest problem here.
Well, the knockback, Casanova able to survive as more blink heals come in. The VP is down. Ardent Defender is out in the middle of that. I think that's why they were going to see them walk away. But double keep. I do not remember the last time I said, boy, top and middle keep are down before the bot keep.
On Dragon Shire, yeah. Ever, period. Oh, it's a good point. It is a rare sight. And look at this rotation from ENDEMIC. They are desperate at this point in time to make anything happen.
Oh, Casanova.
Iron Skin there. I would like to see Li Ming try and get more damage out in that time frame to rid of the shield as fast as possible. I feel like we don't see enough teams burst Iron Skin to try and make it not unstoppable, because once that shielding's gone, same with the unstoppable capabilities there of Johanna.
Oh, we didn't get the extra duration, instead getting the Holy Renewal. Junkrat needs a Holy Renewal. Shrite coming in, making the plays on this. There's going to be another cleave. He's got the cooldown. We've got the follow-up. In comes the Falling Sword. That's going to rain down. 4 members down. We're going to have another shift in, see if Shrite even attempts to go over there. Instead, they will turn their attention to the core, and just like that, No Tomorrow puts down Spray and all, walks up to the core, and said, we're taking a 2-1 lead.
They're dominating here in game number 3, and as you said, looking like they're going to be able to take this as Octoface eats that Lunar Flare, but Jay Shrite, at the very end there, I mean, we know him to be a man of work ethic, a man you could even say to be a monster, but that was a ridiculous level of, I'm ready to win this game. Get in the backpack, boys. She's nice and thick. That was ridiculous.
Level 16, Zeratul. That's beast mode right there. He went in. You get the cooldown reduction when you get in there. He's just like, I'm just going to stay in this fight. I got team. I got help now. Falling Sword able to track down 1 additional kill. But No Tomorrow. The Zul on the other side, maybe a little questionable now.
Maybe a little bit.
Should have gone another hero.
Like Butcher?
No, I was thinking maybe like a Muradin or something like that.
Yeah, a standard warrior.
Yeah, totally was not thinking about the Butcher.
I will say that was really good. I don't know if, like, bringing it to the, how big of a problem was the Zul? I think it was innovative, and I do think it set them back a little bit, but I want to highlight that I personally do not feel like that was purely a draft. Oh, the Zul is getting... No Tomorrow traded top and then did something no one in North America has done in all of Phase 2 Part 2, which is understand map manipulation towards the top lane and how they put this opponent in a lose-lose scenario. That, for me, is like, where has this team been all my life? Because that was so well done.
I questioned it that when they gave up that bottom lane push with the camp and Zeratul was pushing the top lane.
Oh, yeah.
So if the call is to indeed give up a little here, I'll take top keep. Buy time with a Johanna, because Johanna can walk away from most situations and backdoor that shrine. If that is the call, that is a beautiful call. And it's I would say it's difficult to execute in a lot of circumstances.
It is, because the manipulation of the positioning for the person to get the back door in any point in time over one of those shrines or in that situation, not only because you have the timing window of the minion wave, but more importantly, the positioning of the opponent's anchoring. That choke on bottom is one of the most common anchor points, and that usually is the easiest rotation to bottom unless you have a wave clear advantage over the mid lane, which was a true statement at that point in time. But I'm impressed here with No Tomorrow. The Chaos strat and the composition, something I always struggle to totally endorse whenever it seems successful here, but it is very much working for them. And if that's what it needs here through the role swapping identity that they're trying to find, I like it.